really want to make sure that, because we want to get the full amount of time in, because we have amazing people on today. Arunde McNish, you'll see come up Delroy, but we all call him Arunde, as part of our organic team for years, and is one of my favorite people on the island because he taught me how to farm. And I'm not saying that I know as much, but at least he got me started in the right way. So as I started doing Source Farm, that I had terraces in, I had that conversation, I had somebody to kind of guide me. So he's one of my favorite people, and I love that he's going to come and talk to us about seeds and about food security, all kind of something. Sit down. If you sit down with Arunde and at the foot of Arunde, you learn a whole lot. So he'll be on today. So I just wanted to talk about this podcast we do is a collaboration with Source Farm, CDI, the GWG Organic Research Station, and JOAM Genesis Project. And it depends on how we do it. Sometimes it's JOAM Genesis, sometimes it's Source Farm, sometimes it's Ujima, sometimes wherever it is. It's really a collaboration of all the people who really care about clean food and care about healthy living and about, nature and creation and all the good bounty it provides us. So it really is a really collaborative effort. And just a little bit of housekeeping as we go into this. We want folks, today is going to be a little bit more of a conversation piece. And I'll give a little bit of background, even why we have Arunde, because we had Farming as a Business, JOAM, as a conference we do every year so far. And Farming as a Business this year was held at UE. And we invited a number of speakers. We had maybe over 15 different speakers. And I actually get cussed enough. People call me very, very upset that they could not go to all the classes. And they were very confused about which class to go to and how could I do that. And I have to explain to them that a conference means it's a number of different people that come and they're sharing the information. So whatever it is that vibrates with you or the frequency you like, you go into that class. So I said, all right. What I will do is, since everybody's complaining, I will just bring them one by one. And so if the one that you missed, you show up to that one and you'll be able to get information from them. So you'll be able to get a little bit of everything. So you can't proper cuss me again, right? But know that the next time we have Farming as a Business, it's a conference and it will have all kinds of wonderful people. And you just have to, we're offering you a buffet of information, and it's for you to pick what is the most important for you. And we'll go from there. So that is one of the reasons that Arunde is here. And then, of course, we've invited Arunde again because of the fact that we have this Melissa recovery, and what are we going to do to recover from this? And seeds are very important, and we have some conversation about seeds and what are you going to do about seeds, not just what the farmer, but everybody on the island should be doing something. So we're going to have that conversation. So it's going to be a conversation. So we will ask you to put up your hand. If you have a question, everybody should know to raise their hands, hit that button where it says react and put your hand up, and then we'll ask you to unmute. I'm asking people to please make sure that if you're on, stay muted, because we do the background noise. We're going to try to, we don't want to hear that. I'm also going to tell you that right now, why you're not seeing all that beautiful background is because I'm in Bluefields, Westmoreland. We've been here on another mission. We have a number of missions that we're going to be doing. We have the medical mission. We have, and actually they're out now doing their medical mission and delivering solar lights and also water to the community. So we did a lot of things of packing all these things so that we have individual households can get them. And we are delivering those right as we speak. And I'll do my background. I don't know if anybody can see my background at all. So for those of you who haven't gotten a chance to come down and see, we're sitting in Bluefields Organic Farm and Bluefields community, and you can see the background. It looks, and this is quite an improvement on what was going on before. I mean, in terms of, we start to see the leaves coming back on the tree. So at least, if you hear a noise in the background, I'll try and mute if it gets too, but they use a lot of bikes up and down this road that we're on. So sometimes you get the bike background. So just give you some background of what we're doing. So I also this week again asked Natalie to join us. She did such a great job with us last week, and I still feel like we always, when we are organic people, people are interested in natural, it's important for us to kind of ground ourselves. So I've asked her to join us and ground herself. And then we're going to go into the conversation with Delroy McNish. So Natalie, if you don't mind, take.
Okay, thank you, Nicola. Ooh, hi everyone. Really great to see new faces and names, familiar faces and names, and super, super special for us to be back in community. Really grateful for that. All right, so I'm going to guide us through a brief grounding practice. And I have been in spaces before where people are wondering, why don't we just get on to business? Why are we doing this grounding, breathing thing? What is this thing that you're bringing? And some comparisons, or a way that I would describe what we're doing is, think of running a race but your shoes are untied, or you might have on just like one foot of shoes, or trying to go on a journey but they're like your shoes doesn't have any base on it. This is sort of the thing that gives you your foundation so that you actually have energy, so that you can actually be fully present, you can actually think clearly. Because the work that we're going to be doing, it will take weeks and months and perhaps years, depending on the particular thing that each of us is going to be focused on. And in order to continue to be aware of what's the amount of energy in our bodies, how much strength, how much capacity, how much focus, like what are we holding so that we can keep showing up. So it's doing these practices that allow us to be grounded and allow us to keep checking into our bodies so we can sense what the capacity is and what we can offer. And when we need to step back, care for ourselves, and then step back in. So these practices will just allow us to continue to be in that and continue caring for ourselves as we look to care for our country right now. All right, so I am going to invite everyone to just tune in to where you are in your body. You might be sitting, standing, wherever you are, just become aware of your body. Just bringing in awareness. And then imagine that your comfort had a dial on it. So let's say that you're at a 2 or a 3. If you could turn up the dial on your comfort to hit like a 5, 6, 7, 8, what would that mean? For me, it's like resting back so I have some support. You might close your eyes, you might leave it open, whatever is feeling aligned for you in this moment. But how can you bring your body into a state of more comfort, more ease in this moment? And simply allow your mind to become quiet if that's available right now. And a way that that can happen is by connecting to the breath, softening the breathing, and imagine that you're just tracing the breath as it's moving in and out through the body. You're not needing to change it, but just following the breath as it's moving in and out through your body. And I invite you to place your hand anywhere on your body that's wanting to feel your touch. It might be your chest, it might be your stomach, it might be your legs, shoulders, forehead. Just placing your hand somewhere on your body. And imagine that your hands were giving your body energy. And there's energy all around us from the natural world. There's energy from the air around us. There's energy from the sun, the trees, the water. So imagine that we're receiving energy from the natural world. And that energy is moving through your hands, and your body is receiving that. Imagine that the natural world is willingly and generously offering energy, offering this nourishment to our bodies, and that the body gets to receive that to be refueled. And what is it like for the body to breathe in that energy? To take that in like a nice cup of water on a hot day. It's receiving the energy. And as you breathe that in, maybe direct it to the places in your body that needs that nourishment. It could be your heart. If you've been feeling sorrow, sadness, grief. It could be your mind. If you've been, what are the steps to take? It could be your physical body. If you already know what's yours to do and you're wanting that energy to go, to move forward. It could be your spine, strengthen you, help you to stand tall. Having this nourishment move from the natural world and into your body. And imagine now that your body is becoming brighter, stronger. Continue to breathe that in. And as you take that energy in and feel your body becoming full, satiated, having all that it needs in this moment, imagine that you were able to send some of that energy to the communities that need it. And maybe this energy to them feels the way a breeze passes through. Maybe it's inspiration. Maybe it's a sense of hope. Maybe it's looking out at the landscape and trusting and knowing that all will be well. And so as you're receiving that energy and you get to a place of feeling full, sending it to those who need it so we can all be strengthened. We can all be lifted. Beautiful. And with that, offer a gentle stretch to your body, perhaps moving your head, your neck from side to side, stretching your torso, your spine. Yeah. And then coming back to the space when you're ready. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Natalie. Really appreciate that grounding so we can kind of be able to get focus on this collaboration, this meeting. Okay, so I'd mentioned before that a lot of new people just joined us, and I just wanted to reintroduce Arunde McNish. I said before that Arunde and I have a really funny first meeting. And my first meeting with Arunde, I said, this man's so nosy. Yeah, no. He kept asking me a lot of questions. We were at a RADA meeting, and he just kept asking me questions. And I felt really uncomfortable. That's enough. He ended up coming with another person that we know to visit us at Storage Farm when we just started, and this is about 20 years ago. And I said, but this is the same person I met at RADA that asked me and asked me all the questions. And only to find out that, he was really the person that I think the creator wanted me to divinely meet, because he ended up being the person that really taught me a lot about farming and actually helped us set up the first farm at Source Farm. I knew I came home and I wanted to farm, and I knew a little bit about like backyard gardening, but not farming and what needed to happen. So we made an agreement, and what we did was you come, did some work with me and leave me to do work. You're going to do this, and when I come back, this better be done, kind of thing. And so that's how it's been with us. We traveled around the island doing all kinds of different work and trainings. And I was blessed again to just have him as being one of the trainers on the Genesis project. He did land management and also seeds. And we really, anybody that is kind of associated with us at Source knows you're going to see Arunde pop up. And also, Arunde is also, if we're not sure about something, ask Arunde, because not only is he a farmer, an organic farmer, but he's also beekeeping. A lot of beekeeping training. People know him a lot in that way because of all the beekeeping work that he's done over the years. But he is a long time I said old farmers. I don't know that thing, but the whole farmers business. But all the old farmers them seem to, maybe Orenda, when you come on, you can explain to us about your background, a little bit about your background, and then we're going to go into the conversations around seeds. And I just say one other thing about Orende. When we started within JOAM, when we first started our seed committee, it was really Orenda and I were the first people on that committee. Started that committee, and we had a project that was about 20, almost 19, 20 years ago, and it still resonates right now because we were looking at how do we secure some of our indigenous planting material that was going extinct. And so we had about 15 different things that we were asking people to steward, and the work continues from there. It hasn't stopped. And so again, I'm really grateful for him to be on the island, on the planet. And Orunde, can you just give us a little bit more about, give them your background, because it's important for people to know. Explain this whole it's old boy, old girls, something that all old farmers always are talk about. I don't understand that thing.
Well, thank you very much, Nicola, for your very kind comments about me. It's not very often I hear it, and I welcome it. And I want to say thanks for that. I'm not sure where to start. But anyway, I'm an old student of the Jamaica School of Agriculture. It is now the Police Academy, because back in the days, the powers that be thought it fit to close it down and hand it over to the police as a training school. So I always tell people, and we're talking about 1974, I started at that school as a student. And for years, many students who attend the institution didn't even know that I was a student because I always dressed like a farmer. People hardly see me going to classes. And as a matter of fact, sometimes when people coming from dining room heading to classes, I'm just heading to dining room because I might be doing some composting or something. So I always tell people that I started beekeeping at the agriculture school, and it was never taught there. And I started organic farming there, and it was never taught. I was one of those kind of students who had my agenda from very early and know what I wanted out of the institution, in spite of the fact that the institution had their own agenda as to what they want to teach us as students. So I was clear as to what I wanted to learn. And I'm still on beekeeping, still on organic farming, and maybe branch out into a couple of other things. Um, so there's a designation for people who attend the institution and graduate. We call ourselves old farmers, and it's supposed to be OLE, not OLD. But whichever
Oh,
way, it doesn't matter.
okay.
So we call ourselves old farmers. So like Martley at Tuskegee, he's an old farmer. Um, uh, even Green and Kruma Green would regard himself as an old farmer, although the institution was kind of different, but the tradition remained the same. So whether you are a female graduate or a male graduate, um, that is a designation that we have used from way back when. I think the school originally started on the grounds of, could be UTech, but somewhere in the Hope area, and it was known as Hope Agriculture School back then. And then I think in 68, it was moved to Twickenham Park because maybe Kingston was getting, or that part of St. Andrew was getting too modernized and all of that. So they moved it to Twickenham Park and dubbed it Jamaica School of Agriculture. So a lot of the guys who went to that school, they're still around. Many of them have passed, have did their work, and have gone to other places. And some of us are still here. And then we have Case, which is the new kid on the block, and they're the ones running things right now. So that's as much of the history that I'd want to share at this time.
Thanks, Aruna, for doing that, because I think most of us who are not in the sector don't understand the history of our farming, that they're actually, it goes way back in terms of education, and they only kind of maybe know Case and those places, but not really know that there's a where this knowledge and wisdom comes from, but also where some of the policies also come from as well. So I think it's important for us to know that, and that we have a long history of trying to get the education, not just in crops, but also in livestock. So I want you to just kind of talk about even starting with JOAM in terms of the whole seed work that we do there. We started there, and how it plays into what is going on now.
Okay, so on a personal level, whenever I speak organic, I have to remember Blossom Budai, who started the organic movement in Jamaica. I think it was somewhere in 1990, 1991 that she started out with JOGA, Jamaica Organic Growers Association, which later on morphed into JOAM, Jamaica Organic Agriculture Movement. So always try to remind myself that, we need to honor Blossom Bodai, who single-handedly, she didn't call a committee together. She just said to me one day that, well, Mr. McNish, I'm going to just devote my life to this organic thing. She's tired of people calling her about organic stuff from Jamaica, and we didn't have the first box or container load of anything. And that was back then. I don't know if we still have it so many years after. So we have work to do. So here we are, and we have the. I remember attending a couple of meetings at maybe Girl Guides headquarters in Kingston, where Joe used to meet back in the days. And quite a few times I mentioned seeds, what are we doing about seeds? And I remember Marcus Brown, he kind of got fed up with me and said, is we have to do the seed thing, because government not going to do it. And at that meeting, I passed around a piece of paper and I said, those who are interested in forming a seed committee or be part of a seed committee, please put your name down. Almost everybody in the room put their names down. And the people who know me know that I'm not into the crowd thing. So the first committee meeting that was called, first seed committee meeting that was called, it was, I think Marcus Brown was there. Mr. Martin was there. Nicola was there. I think maybe that was the first time she's going to come to a Joe meeting. Right? I was there, and I'm not sure if there was anybody there. And the discussion basically centered on mostly indigenous seeds that we are losing, things that are just going out of style, things like the bird pepper, things like the Indian kale, and there are so many more to mention. Things are just disappearing because as the whole agricultural training, the whole agricultural system going forward, we find that rather seem to be playing a minor role, and the chemical companies seem to be playing the major role. So when we have a field day, back in the days, it was a chemical company would be there on invitation of the extension officer. Now, seems like we have flipped the thing around now, and the extension officer seem to be the invited guests at a field day, the typical field day. So the chemical company, they have money and they'll finance lunch and they'll finance, whatever it is that they need to have that day, that field day be a successful day. So the chemical company, they're there basically, and I can't blame them. That's their thing. They're pushing their chemical, their fertilizer, their pesticide, and so on and so forth. And sometimes the radar officer sort of fade in the background and be a participant rather than be a leader in the whole process. So some of the things that are that you'd expect for farmers to learn about building the soil, about taking care of the crops, you don't hear a lot of that because unless there is a chemical solution or an imported seed solution to the farmer's problem, then you really won't hear anything else other than, if you have a weed problem, these are the chemicals that you use. And if you have a pest problem, these are the chemicals that you use. And if you want an improved seed so that you get higher yields, these are the seeds that are recommended. So the farmers, they are flooded with this kind of information, and there's hardly any balance. So when I went to agriculture school, I was able to balance myself by reading up a lot on organic farming. And I was fortunate to be able to read a book that actually introduced me to organic farming. So whenever they put a chemical solution out there, I always try to balance it with an organic position. So the whole seed thing, we keep talking about it and talking about it. And, I'm glad that Nicola was at that first meeting and prepared to bite the bullet, so to speak, in terms of, putting it on the front page rather than keeping it on the back burner, as we have been doing over the years. So here we are, we had a disaster. Not even know if I should call it a natural disaster, but it's a disaster nonetheless that impacts the lives of so many Jamaicans, especially those in the West. And I'm asking myself, where is our seed security? Where is our food security? It is so nice to talk about it, but where is it? So most of the help that is coming in from outside of the community. Number one, a lot of it is coming from abroad, and it is coming almost as an imposition on farmers. And I'm saying that we need to be on the ground as JOAM and the Genesis Project and Source Farm have always been doing, be on the ground and doing what needs to be done on the ground. Should I say amen?
Amen.
Amen.
So,
Amen.
maybe Roshana, you could put up that because I think that's helpful to us to kind of talk about that conversation. So for me, since we've been, we've actually with the JOAM Genesis project, when we got that project, obviously it's about soil fertility, and it was 11 different strategies that what we're teaching. And then we threw in, we had to have the seed thing in there, coming always I try to push the seed thing. And so, of course, I asked Arunda to do land management training. And for those of you who have been to any demonstration sites, you would have experienced Arunda either in land management or land management and seeds, right? And talking about seeds and other, not just seeds, but germplasm. So you would have had some conversation with him about doing that. And then what I saw, as a matter of fact, Colleen sent me an article. Rashawn, you can put up the article for me, if it's possible. I don't know if you're, but I don't know who saw this about how many billions of dollars is going to go to the agricultural sector and how much is going to seeds and, pretty much chemical inputs. And so that for me was, I actually immediately called the ministry and said, what is this? Because we just spent 2 years going around trying to train people on things. And seeds is one thing, which we already will talk about seeds in terms of how the, I would say, kind of the government and other people, input suppliers deal with seeds and how we as organic farmers have a very difficult time bringing in seeds. And then also the fact that we just did the webinar, Pretty Dirty Food, knowing, as a matter of fact, the ministry was quite upset about the fact that this disclosure in terms of the amount of chemicals that we use in Jamaica on our, on our farms. As a matter of fact, the little island that we have, we are like almost fifth or something like the amount of per capita chemicals that come in agriculture. Huge amount of, we are like the dumping ground and often the dumping ground for things. So that when that article came and I looked at it, I said, how is this possible? Because again, we talk about what just happened and knowing that some of the challenges that we have, even with some of the way how water run off because of ground is impacted because we are not able to, the practices that we're having, and we have a lot of dead soil, and that causes nothing for absorption, right? The soil is no longer a sponge to absorb that rain. And so in certain places when it rains, all that is going to end up on the roads or in, taking away even more of the topsoil. And for them to even advertise that they're giving all these chemicals, so the agrochemicals company are very happy. And so they are going to get their, how many billions of dollars, and the country's not going to be any better off. So they promised me a meeting. I don't hear nothing about the meeting after that. But we realize that we just have to do what we know best to do. And through JOAM and also other people on these calls that shows up at these meetings and comes to the training is do what you can in your environment. And as I'm again using a permaculture principle of observing what you're doing and then interacting in the best way possible to set an example for our farmers. So Arunde, what do you think about Arunde, are you hearing?
Just
I
hearing
dropped
you
off for
now.
a
Could you
second.
repeat the question?
Yeah, I was saying, I mean, in terms of the fact that they're going to be having how many billions of dollars of chemicals and seeds, and a lot of these things are treated seeds, right? Because remember that even in the organic policy, we say that no treated seeds. And the reason for that is because these treated seeds have chemicals that are treating them. And then now you're going to just put it in the ground. And again, even though it's a little seed, you're now adding more chemicals and synthetic things to the ground. So that's why we're saying it should be heirloom. It should not be treated. It should be, it should be an organic seedling. So what do you think about what was said in terms of the issue with the seed, what the ministries are advocating? And I know they're trying to do a recovery, but what do you think about that? Because I have my thoughts.
Well, there's not a whole lot of, should I say, conscience that is really brought to the fore in considering how to deal with the situation on hand. So out there, you know that the chemical companies, they are very powerful in Jamaica. You know, the government listen to them because they have money and they have influence. So the government listen to them, want to please them, and them in turn want to please the government. You know, it's a nice friendly atmosphere that is happening there. Um, and what borders years ago, the organic movement asked them to make available untreated seeds. So they may have untreated pumpkin seeds, um, maybe pepper, Scotch bonnet pepper. What else would they have? Sorrel seeds, and so on. So there's an effort there to at least make some untreated seeds available to farmers. But I don't think the effort to send out untreated seeds is taken very seriously by the Ministry of Agriculture. But give thanks for the little that they are doing. I know as a beekeeper, there's a whole family of chemicals, and these are the up and coming chemicals that are being introduced to farmers now as insecticides. So there's a family of chemical that they call neonicotinoids. And these chemicals, they are systemic, so they enter the system of the plant. So you find it in the juice of the plant, and um, they attack the insect by the insect feeding on the plant itself. So when the honeybee come to pollinate a flower, they they take nectar, which is a continuation of the sap flowing through the plant. So they would absorb some of this chemical, neonicotinoid. Anyway, that chemical, they would absorb that, and it scientifically they have proven that it interferes with their navigation system. So when you hear they talk about the collapse of bees, beekeeping industry in US and Canada and some of the other areas, it is felt that this is the chemical that is responsible for that. Because once it affects the nervous system of the plant, then their navigational system is also affected. So they go out to gather food and they cannot navigate their way back. And non-beekeepers, people who are not aware, may not even understand that a bee would fly 2 to 3 miles out radius of the hive and have to navigate over hills and valleys and big trees and shrubs and roadways and so on to get back to their hive. So once their navigational system is disrupted, then they just would get lost somewhere out in the field and they would not come back in. And when you mess around with the major pollinator, bees are the most aggressive pollinator that we have in nature. So you will have the butterflies, you will have houseflies, and you will have, the ratbat and so on, and wind. These are also pollinators. But the honeybees are so aggressive that if you have a guinea tree or a ackee tree anywhere near your house, they will wake you up in the morning. So even before it get bright, that hum of bees in the tree will literally wake you up, because as soon as you can discern that there is somebody standing maybe 10, 20 feet from you, right, the bees would be out from that early. And, one bee come and find the source, they go back, tell the rest of them, until literally the whole apiary of bees would be focusing and flocking those kind of trees. So once you have pollination issues, then you're going to have seed issues, because if the seeds are not pollinated and fertilized, then their viability will be almost null and void. So you will have some ackee, you will have some pumpkin, you will have some of what we are used to, but the production would be significantly reduced if the bees are absent. So the government, and I don't even know how to say it, they need to be mindful of what they're doing, but I don't know if even saying that even makes sense. I think what the people who are in the know, um, you know, the people who understand what is happening in nature, we need to just be more aggressive, be more forceful, have more and more of these kind of programs so that we can, if we keep chipping away at it, who knows, one day the government maybe will understand the importance of organics and will be promoting things like composting, biochar, organic fertilizer, because I'm almost certain that the fertilizer that will be handed out, none of them will be organic. I'm almost certain about that. And we have so much waste from the all the different markets that we have in Jamaica, farm waste all over the place that can be converted to organic matter and to be used as fertilizer. And now we, thanks to the Genesis project, we now are more familiar with biochar and EM, the different versions of the EM. And all of those things can enhance the fertilization properties of all of these organic matter, so that we can now be less dependent on imported stuff. If we do our seed saving, then we can have our stash of seeds, and those people who are really interested, can go out and plant their stuff because we have saved those seeds. And if we can develop the organic fertilizer industry, which is there, and of course the chemical company is not going to touch it. And I don't know if the government have the will to do it, and somebody has to do it. So maybe it's going to fall on the organic movement to somehow be able to significantly, do that work.
Really, thank you. There was a whole class in just everything you just said, and so important, because I don't think they are, often these folks that are doing this stuff is, they got trained one way and they really are disconnected. And, one action has a bearing on so many things. And that's why we have to be very thoughtful when we do things, because just making that statement alone, there's a saying that whenever humans run after the natural world for profits, all that follows is destruction. And more that statement comes into play, because every time we want to put a dollar figure on something like that, whether it's being seeds, and it may have meant well, but what kind of seeds, and then also what kind of chemicals are we? And it says chemicals, so there's nothing again about, you just had this natural, or however this, you said, devastation that happened, but not really looking at nature again and saying, how come are we going to go back again and do the same madness we did before? And the reason that some of the devastation has happened is because of how we have designed and how we are interacting with nature. Because all traditional people that study land, and all the ancient ones, they studied their environment. They knew how to map look in the stars and map. And if I ask most people now if they know where's a Big Dipper or Little Dipper, they wouldn't even know. They just see sky. They don't understand the cycles. They don't understand when it's dark night, when it's not. They don't know any of these things. And yet still we keep doing these things that really do impact us, both in all kinds of ways, whether it's emotional way or financial ways, all these different things. And we're still not learning the lesson. And so when these statements are made, we go, here we go again. It's like we didn't really hear what was being said. That is why, when you use a permaculture design plan, and yes, permaculture is a new modern way of saying things, but these ancient ways of looking at the earth and being connected with it, they would see there's certain things that just don't make sense because you're going to end up losing all that hard. And you don't plant, you don't build something in a flood zone. You don't, you think about how you lay your structure, your house out. Even in the Taino ways, they would build certain things because they knew that these storms would come through. And if they lost it, they knew how to rebuild something, and they had the capacity using material around them to build. But we don't do that. We've invested in a lot of imported materials, and now just to think of rebuilding your house after this devastation, I don't think many people are going to live a life. If you're 50, 60-year old, how are you going to know? And you think you're going into retirement to really go back and rebuild something? It's really crazy because all those materials are imported, right? And we're importing seeds, we're importing everything, not looking at what is indigenously here. I want you to talk about, really quickly, Dr. Ben, he was on the program a couple of weeks ago, and we came down on to check to see what was going on in St. Elizabeth and Westmoreland, and he says, all I see is food. They're saying there's no food. And what he was showing us is all these different things. We need to have him back on about what things that he saw in nature that is that's available to be eaten. And because we've only narrowed it down from the 2,000 plus edible things that we could have on the planet to literally about 30, 40, or maybe 50 things that we feel like those are things that are edible. But he was showing us a video with things from the palm tree that was edible, and he harvested and took back and made preserves and different things with. He was looking in nature, all these different things that we don't know that is edible because we've only been steered and guided in a certain way, but not knowing that nature provides everything for us. We just have to open our eyes and be connected so that we will be able to say, okay, that is edible and that's not. And when you talk about some of that, because when you talk about food security, it's, we get a lot of cash crop things, but what about all the indigenous things that are here on island that are planting germplasm that we should be planting, and our strategy around that?
Okay, so the foremost thing that came to me is the moringa, because on a personal level, if I'm cooking and my food look a little out of whack in terms of nutrient balance, I just drop some moringa leaves and I put that in there, and I'm quite comfortable that it's going to fill any nutritional gap that I may have in my meal preparation. So that is very important. We're coming from a culture where they tell us that you need to have how much ounce of protein and how much ounce of carbohydrates and how much ounce of fatty food to really balance your diet. But when you're looking at people's health, and we're looking at the amount of challenges that we have health-wise, then we have to move away from those basic old school ideas and look at some of the nutrient-rich food that we have around us. And moringa to me is one of the foremost ones. Very easy to grow. The first time I planted moringa, I got those seeds from Nicola. I know she don't remember. But I got 18 seeds from Nicola. I don't know how many years, maybe about 18 years ago. And I planted them in June, and by the October, I was harvesting leaves from those moringa. So it's pretty quick. As a matter of fact, they were flowering um, in October, having planted them in June. So you know that I could be harvesting them much earlier than the flowering time. So we have things like the cassava leaves, and fortunately for us, the Red Stripe, in their quest to use the cassava starch, have introduced and promoted um, cassava that are very low in toxicity. And we all know that inherent in cassava, there is a poisonous element in there, or potentially poisonous. But because of the low toxicity level that they need for their starch, they have introduced cassava. That when you eat those cassava, I mean, I put that cassava in soup, and if I close my eyes, I don't know whether I'm eating yam or I'm eating cassava. That's how delicious the food is, and how should I say consumer friendly the cassava is. So I don't have any problem eating my cassava leaves when I'm on the farm and I'm cooking. It's one of the things that I use to cook with. And if you're a little bit skeptical about cassava leaves, you can boil it and then pour up that water and then you can have it afterwards. I personally, I don't do that because of the type of cassava that I'm working with. We have pumpkin leaves, you have potato leaves. And when I came to St. Thomas, 20 odd years ago, I was introduced to something that they call wild hook. Well, when you cook wild hook, it tastes very similar to callaloo. When you're cutting it up and you smell it, it smells just like callaloo. I don't know if there's any relationship between the two of them, but they're nice greens. And these are some of the things I eat, even mulberry leaves. I think those mulberry was brought here for goat and rabbit consumption because of the protein content. But I also eat the mulberry leaves when I'm cooking. So because I live up in the hills, when I'm cooking, I just walk around the farm, see Spanish needle, wild hook, mulberry, pumpkin, potato leaves, and all of that is food for me, you know. Um, and I also want to mention here the Indian kale. And I'm told by the Indians who have met that even the corn can also be eaten. So we usually use the leaves of pepper pot soup, but we also can eat that. So there's a lot of stuff out there, It's just that people, there there's a whole school of people who feel that if they're eating their dinner and it's greens they have in there, it's poor food. And they would want their visitor to see them eating poor food, right? But I think we need to throw away some of those concepts and value the food rather than looking at it and say, well, traditionally, you would be preparing your dinner with callaloo or uh, pap chow or, your moringa and so on. So I
I
think we have
wonder.
to open our minds and realize that we have to save ourselves. And I don't think the book is yet written in Jamaica for Jamaicans to tell you how to survive and what we have here. A couple Cubans who I met, get to talk to them. They tell me that in Cuba, if they have any kind of situation there and people have to go up in the hills, they have printed all the foods that is available for their nutrition. All the herbs for healing. You get a gunshot or a knife or a broken leg or something, they have all of that. I think we need to begin to do that work here, to document some of our things. And I think the Ujima market is a good venue, maybe once per month, to do a cooking class where people, you prepare your pumpkin leaf or your moringa leaves or your potato leaf, whatever it is, and have people eating it, tasting it, and go away with a recipe for how to prepare it and how to eat it.
We have started to do that, and we need to do more of it. We kind of got dropped off a little bit, but we have been doing that, bringing different ingredients because people see some of the things that they don't know what to do with it. So we started to have some of the Ujima kitchen and do that. I wanted to bring something back up because, I just mentioned that the team just went out on a mission and they've delivered a number of things going into the Bluefield community. And one of the things is part of the project that really the research station, and actually Dr. Picking and other people, I know that Perishables Jamaica, Norman, donated a number of things. And what was interesting, because when we last time we were here, which is a week and a half ago, we gave out water and we gave out tissue and we gave out things that they said that they needed. And then we had another group coming from Sandals Foundation, dropped off some things for us to help distribute, and another foundation. Well, what they did was a lot of canned things. And of course, it's emergency. So you want to, the rice was going out there, the can, and I was feeling away because I'm like, boy, we'll give out all them canned something and then white rice, which we know that it really isn't good for folks. But it's you just get something because it's an emergency. And I was thinking about the nutrition, because we know that our people have a high incidence of diabetes and all that stuff. And, where's the nutrition in this? So when we made our pot of soup with all our nice pumpkin and our carrots and all our organic stuff, we were able to distribute soup 2 days out. And then that was the first time they had a hot meal, because remember, everybody's stove blew away and people didn't, all those things were gone. So there was really, some people come and say, this is the first hot meal I've had, in a week, because they were just trying to scramble. Then I started thinking about the nutrition. So one of the things that was added to the packet, and I'll talk about what was given out, is we gave out, was moringa. I don't know if you can see that, is the packet of moringa. And so when Doc is going out with the team, he was explaining to people that they need to add this. So if they're making their rice, sprinkle some of this in it. Whatever they're doing, they sprinkle some of this in it, because it will help build up the nutrition. Because can you imagine, you're already stressed out as it is. And of course, that stress is going to, make you susceptible. And on top of your food you're getting is not really highly healthy food anyway. A lot of flour, a lot of rice, a lot of those things, and no nutrition. So we made up a bunch of these packets and really handed them out. Along in the package, we in Jamaica, we're so blessed still to have a culture of herbs. Right? Normally we go get a piece of mint and boil, we get some ginger and different things like that. So what we did and what he put together is a medicine pack of things for different ailments. So if you have, there's guava leaf, it helps stop running belly and vomiting and calms your nerves, right? So these are things that all of us on the phone that is, maybe not experiencing all this, you need to have this in your, I would say, this is a pharmacy. Right? Your garden should be your pharmacy. We always say that all the time. So he's in the packet. He just gave a bag of things, right, with instructions and telling you how to make it. He has a handout, and also, what is it good for? Turmeric helps reduce fever and swelling, joints and pains, supports the liver. Ginger, if you have asthma, cough, cold, the ginger is there. Flu, so you bags. Fever grass, fever grass, cough and cold, flu. Guinea hen weed helps with headache, muscle, back pain, arthritis. Cerci helps lower your blood pressure. You stress out blood pressure, you have some of that. And then he also had, for nutrition, he also put the moringa in there, and also pure Jamaican chocolate, 100% grown cocoa. A ball. The mountain, it makes about 6 cups of tea, cocoa tea. It provides natural iron to help build your blood, magnesium for muscles, and to calm your nerves, and flavonoids. So we are not thinking about, at this point, trying to get to some doctor when the whole hospital blow down. You can actually go into your garden, whatever is left, or we just gave you this pack of full of things, medicine. This is a pharmacy bag of things, because we're used to doing these teas. So this was what was just handed out. And of course, very important is this packet of moringa. So we're going to be trying to make up more of these packets for folks and give out. I think he gave out, we gave out that. We also had a woman that, Alice, she is a materials specialist. She made a set of solar lights and solar light charger for chargers as well. She flew down here on her own and is giving out, I think she gave out, I don't know how many thousands of these lights. And because she's a friend, she used to be at University of Pennsylvania. She's a friend with our architect. She came down and they worked with the Blessings group and gave over 6,000 meals. And then she came on our mission as well to help give out these lights. So we gave out about 60 lights to various, and they're very nice lights. I mean, and you can even plug in and charge up. And also we're giving out bottled water and also some something else you drop in water to help purify water. So these are the things, as you know, when we're doing this work, we have to be very thoughtful in terms of not just we're just a throw things at people and certain kinds of food, but I'm really concerned about the nutrition because we don't want to have a lot of people now becoming susceptible to other disease because of the area. Maybe they're more outdoor, or you know, we're going to be doing a papaya leaf next week with Dr. Ben because we didn't get a chance to pick that up from him, but he's going to be doing papaya leaf for dengue. So we on island have a lot of the things that we need to cure ourselves, but people are forgetting about them and they don't know about them. And we also need to be growing them. So if you in your wherever you're living don't have a pharmacy growing in your yard, we need to talk. Right, we need to talk. And this is some of the things that we're going to be doing at the farmers market. We'll talk about it in a second, to be doing so we can start planting these seeds in the bag. Just like how Arunda you got, I don't remember what the moringa that you got from me, but you gave me, you see, we traded. You took the moringa and you gave us lemongrass. And anybody who comes to Storage Farm will see the plethora of lemongrass that we use for everything, right? All over the place because of I think it was maybe 12 lemongrass plants you gave me, little seedlings. And we have been able to give away so many people lemongrass because of that gift you gave to us. So it's about sharing and about, you know, you have this, you have that, and we are all always collaborating on these things. So for those of you who are in the Kingston area, we're going to be at Hope Gardens. Okay, we're going to go into a whole bunch of stuff, but there's so much stuff to share with you. Orinda, I know that there's other things that we want to talk about. We're going to definitely have to have you back. But give us a parting words, and then we're going to go on to some other information because they're telling me my time is short. You saw them stay. They want to talk and they want me to shut up. I don't know if I make up their mind. But give us what at this point in time, knowing what you know, should we be doing?
I like to call myself a strategist, although I don't know the fullness of what all of that means. But I believe that whenever we're doing anything significant, we have to be strategic about it. So on the surface, you know, it's planting seeds, you know, clean seeds and producing clean foods and all of that. So if we want to be strategic, we have hurricane is something that visits us almost every year, or every other year or so, either some tropical storm or a hurricane. So we need all the time to have a certain amount of food, 10%, 15%, 30% of our food should be underground. So it could be sweet potato, could be yam, could be cocoa. What else we have underground? All right, so we have three things, and I'm sure that there are a few others that when we plant them, no matter how hard the hurricane want to blow, the fact that they are low growing and they are underground, after hurricane, they are going to be there. If they are not ready to be reaped, the yam vine will still be there for the most part. Unfortunately, I did not take a trip down, so I don't know what happened to the yam vine. But I know that the stick would blow down and the vine would be on the ground. The cassava, the foliage, the above ground section will be down, but most of the food will be underground. Right? So I think we need to be very strategic in how we plant things. Again, when we harvest our cassava, we don't have to just sell all of it to these companies that make bami. We can do our own bami. You can put your bami into a dehydrator and you can increase the shelf life maybe to 12 months. Right? We can convert it to flour, and you know all about this, Nicola, because you have been doing quite a bit of that, the breadfruit flour, cassava flour, and so on and so forth. So we can convert some of these things in a form that we can have after a hurricane. So instead of depending on going to the supermarket, we could be packaging stuff from our own, I call it butchery. our storeroom. All right. So the only thing I want to say right now in parting is that we have to be very strategic in what we're doing. What we plant, where we plant it, how it's going to survive after a hurricane, how much of it we're going to convert to increase its shelf life and its usability in the case of a crisis.
But that's a lot, and I think that is very much doable. I think that we, I was looking at a friend of mine, and I'm looking at the amount of time that they're spending on, you know, this like devices and stuff. And if you go through your week next week, this coming week, and look at the amount of time that you're on the device, and how much time that you're actually putting energy into zone 1 or zone, which is where you live, putting yourself and also in your environment, you'd realize that you'd have time to do some planting or do some drying or do some, some kind of food processing or something like that. And I don't think that we're putting enough time. I see a lot of lines around KFC. I see a lot of people going into Sovereign. I see a lot of people doing that, but I don't see as much people, and saying, we put a call out to people, and somebody's going into pharmacy as well, because they're going inside these places to get the medicine, where the medicines it should be in the food. So we put a call and say, all right, people should be planting at least 100, 50 to 100 bags of something, from the farm store and do it. And, not one person called me and said, Nicola, let's talk about that. Nobody not called me, So I want to know, with show of hands, how many people actually took the advice and put something in the ground, or put a seed in a tray, or put a seed in a bag this week. And it would take you really 15 minutes to do that, the most an hour. I'm not, because I don't have my full screen, so I'm not seeing. So I think that when people like to just listen and think says, joke me a joke, I don't think people understand when I say that there's going to be some major food insecurity in this place, right? That is a real thing. Just like it's a real thing when I am down here, and I'm like, I'll tell you, I drove in last night. It actually looked worse than when I first came a week and a half ago. If this is possible, I think it can look worse. It looked worse. And this is maybe Mr. Keith that is down here, Weatherburn, and he says yes, it's actually worse. And I'm saying we don't seem to get it. Like, America can't really. We have a lot of people that are here. I'd say that they're coming to help, but America needs their own help, because they don't have enough food harvest, because they weren't harvesting food because of what was going on with ice. And our major food thing is knocked out, and across the island it's knocked out. But I understand. And I'm being very serious about this. Are we not? Are we? This is a joke business. You think so that when all these containers of things come, we don't know what is in it. Is it going to be a real thing? We might get rice, or we might get some canned tuna, but we have no nutrition. That's not what gives us really nutrition. And nobody is really taking it on, that they call and say, Nicola, Ray, how are we going to do this? I've put aside 50 bags I'm going to plant anything, because we're too busy on devices and too busy. Yes, everybody's busy trying to whatever, but take an hour out of your day and please take it seriously and put something in the ground, put something in a bag, or call and see where we can link you up with a farm, or link you up with somebody. Right now, your best friend better be a farmer. If you're not a person that knows how to farm, you better find somebody who knows how to farm, because that person, because we know around them, we can say, Arunda, what you have? What do you have? And I may be able to trade him something. You can't trade these devices. For what? For food? If I plant a cucumber, this is something of real value, because you can eat that and survive. We can't eat the device, and we can't eat the cash. So it sounds like a harsh, but I'm being very serious about this. And I don't care if you're in Jamaica or in the US, wherever you are, you better get to know and get to learn how to do some farming, because you're good, or something. Because we are a species, we are humans, but we are supposed to be able to take care of food needs. The birds do, the bees do, all the other things do. And we are sitting there thinking that somebody's responsible for feeding us. So I'm just being really clear. I'm being very transparent. I'm very, very serious. I've been saying it, but I'm really wanting to take it serious. Whoever whoever please mute yourself. Tech team, mute, please. All right, so very, very serious. And then as you hear the child in the background, take the child outside and the children outside and show them how to do this as well, because one day you will not be around and they may need to know how to do something. All right, so I want to, yes, that was my message for today, my serious message for today. So we are going to take it seriously because we're saying, all right, come on Hope Gardens, and we will show you how to put a seed in a bag or in a tray, because some people are just afraid. They don't even know how deep do we put it, how much do we put, how do we make the seed mix together. We'll be able to show you that, and then we'll talk you through the rest of the things then. Because if you have a couple bags of seed, then we can collect it and we can then help other people who want to nurture those other farmers, because they're going to need the help. But I can't do everything at this point. We need to get more production in, right? We are asking people in Jamaica to come to various sites, and you can call me and we'll link you to the closest site you are, to help that farmer. Give him an hour, give him a day, give him whatever you can give him. And at least you make that connection to the farmer and connection to the soil, and then reconnect you back into the natural world, which you really need to do, because we have been disconnected on purpose, and we have to understand where we come from. Because if not, we will be able to, anybody will be able to manipulate us with any kind of food thing. Anything they want to give us, we're going to run, come and take it up. And Jamaican people are kind of fussy that we're just coming from. We not eat from everybody. So you really need to know your farmer. All right, so I want to invite Colleen. Can you unmute? And she can tell you about the project that's happening at Hope Gardens on Monday. It was a quick thing, but Colleen, please join.
Greetings, everyone. We're going to be having a very exciting day tomorrow at Hope Gardens. We got involved with a team of volunteers out of the UK called DART. Their only aim is to help countries like us that have gone through a natural disaster to clear trees, and also train us in how to use a chainsaw properly, the safety measures surrounding using a chainsaw. And well, if they had enough time, they'd also be showing us how to manage our trees in a way that when we do prune them or cut them, they can spring back and survive and grow more vigorously. So it's totally free. It is going to be at the historical gate of Hope Gardens, starting at 9. We may or may not go up to 4 o'clock, but plan to spend the day with us. You won't, because there will be a number of people attending, you won't necessarily have hands-on training with a chainsaw, but there will be very live demonstrations where they're going to be having the session tomorrow in Hope Gardens. Was battered by the hurricane, and there's a lot of cleanup that needs to be done, and that's part of what we're going to be doing tomorrow. So if you can, even if it's an hour or two, try and get some practical knowledge. And everybody and his wife nowadays has a chainsaw because there's lots of work to be done, but we need to do it in a way that is safe for the operators of the chainsaw as well as everybody around them, and more importantly, to protect the life of the trees that may still be standing. So it will be very useful. Come and ask all the questions you need to ask. They're not shy in answering. They're going to do their very best in the time that they have to help you go out into the world and be able to function, not necessarily expertly, but with a basic level of understanding to help the environment bounce back.
And Colleen, one of the things I wanted to mention, so they are, master arborists. And as we mentioned earlier, I think some of you heard me talk about the fact that I didn't listen. I say I didn't listen. They told me that I needed to prune some trees, and I just, no, let the trees grow. And then, of course, because I don't want to cut anything down. And when Beryl happened, every single maca tree, every single tree that could have possibly gone down, came down. And then I did have to deal with it. So if all of you who have gardeners or want to learn how to train your gardeners, or just want to get information yourself, because we don't have there used to be I forgot his name. I maybe Colleen remember his name. Other than Mr. Luxley, there's another gentleman. He just passed away, and he was a master arborist for the country. Anybody that really had a tree and they weren't sure how to take it down, he was the person. But he's no longer on this side of the planet with us, right? So we really need this is something that if somebody really wanted a business, they could really start an arbor business, because always there's storms, always there's trees that are we have a lot of aging trees that we need to prune. We don't know how to prune a tree. Everybody wants to use a machete on the tree them and then soccer them, and it is horrible. We need to know how to be able to properly take down the tree, but also properly prune the tree so that it actually is very it will be able to grow back. And I know that Miss Mary from Nature Preservation and Hope Gardens is there. We've had many interactions around this tree thing, and people upset with us because we had to prune the trees and that kind of stuff. But it's really important. It's just like having, when you go to the hairdresser, you get a haircut, how you feel, it's the same thing. And the hurricanes come through to do that, because we have a 12-month growing season. And when they come through and the winds come through, they open up the canopy, and it allows us to be able to have more light so other things can grow. Of course, we don't need a category 5 to make that happen, right? That's a whole other thing. But if we don't start to take care of the trees, which is part of our ecosystem, and understanding that we can nurture them, and we can also work with them in a way that it actually allows them to be of more help than when a hurricane comes through, everything gets knocked down, and then we also, damages our other infrastructure that is there. So it's important, if you have the capacity to get to Hope Gardens tomorrow, I would really highly recommend you take whoever, drag somebody for a couple hours, and let us learn how to do it properly from people who actually, this is their magic. This is the things that they came on the planet to do. So I would really encourage you to do that and show up. I want to bring in a lunch. We didn't have any opportunity to get any assistance with lunch. So everybody brings something. You know how we work when we're organic people. We just, potluck business, bring something and we all share. Unless somebody knows of a wonderful sponsor that wants to sponsor lunch for us, let us know. You can give me a call. And we'll try to make that organize that. Thanks, Colleen, so much.
Nicola, I just want to add.
And Colleen will be the person.
Yeah. Nicola, may I just add, a question came up in the chat about why not have it in Montego Bay. The team who is here, they came last week Tuesday and they're leaving on Wednesday. We wanted them to train on the West as well, but they literally did not have the time to do so. But longer term, it is something that we're looking at, getting a more extensive training program going, because it is something that clearly we are going to need every year. Even if it's not a hurricane, we have trees that grow. So that is something that we have in the pipeline.
And also, Colleen, just so you know, for people, they are actually in Westmoreland. This is the second team of them. So they were on the ground from the hurricane happened, and they did a lot of clearing. They're in Westmoreland working as we speak right now. We just beg them a favor. We try to, one of our team members are embedded with them now for about 4 or 5 days. And we're hoping that he'll be able to, as a trainer course, he'll be able to come and give us some help with the work in terms of being a little bit more expert in terms of using the chainsaw, but also how to actually properly do it. So we are going to be trying to figure out how we can get them back or get other people, because really it is it's a business opportunity, because we do need more in every parish. We need that. We need somebody that has it to be able to do this properly, because people just come in and say them can cut something and then destroy the whole thing by not having the full knowledge. What we care about is being able to be more than proficient, be more than competent, to be expert in all that we do. And so we really are asking for more of that information to share, so that we'll be able to get good people that know what they're doing. But everybody's telling them no for paint. They don't have a clue about painting. So, and it's the same thing. We want to make sure that anybody's using the chain is going to be done safely. So they're rushing me off. So I just want to share some other things that's been going on. This week we were down in Clarendon. We thank Mary for volunteering. We were hoping that more people would have an opportunity to come out and help in Clarendon. We did use a chainsaw and remove the number of tree and tree limbs that were down, and reminded everyone that all the training that we do at JOAM Genesis, that they're supposed to be implementing it at this time. So they should not be burning any leaves. that they should be composting using the Johnson Sioux, making compost. They should be doing hugelkultur. They should be dividing out and seeing what we're going to make into charcoal or biochar, or what we're going to use for wood chips. So if you are one of those people that had trees that came down, or any material that came down, remember that we've given you the strategies, right? Remember we're telling us that something going to happen, and that's why we go out. Corona Island has shown us certain things. It's time for them to put those things into practice. We have the cards. Remember, you got all those cards of how to do things. Please utilize them. We're going to be sending them out again on social media, so you know how to, making the Johnson Sioux, how to do the composting, because as a system, right? Remember, we're working in cycles and systems. So one thing that is a waste in one system is also the input for the other system, right? So when you look at the landscape, what I see money here. I see a whole lot of charcoal. I see biochar, I see wood chips, and I see compost, right? So whatever happened in terms of the storm, how do we, benefit from it? So everything that we think is a loss, and even in our lives, something happened and we cry, we're upset. But what are the lessons from it? The lesson from this is that we actually have material that we can use to rebuild what was lost. Okay, so please do remember about that. This coming week, we'll be in November 20th. We'll be in going to St. Elizabeth. People are in that who want to come and help. Let's have a conversation. There's a registration form that will be up. You can let us know if you're willing to come and volunteer. We'll be going down and going to our demonstration site and seeing how we can help with a cleanup, planting seeds, whatever it is that they need help with. And I know that they need chainsaw help. We're going to be planting some seed bags or seed trays, making sure they have something to rebound, and also to share with other farmers that have been affected. And then we'll be back in Bluefields on the 22nd to the 23rd. We'll be doing it overnight. We can house about volunteers, about 7 to 8 people, not 78 people. But you have to register, and we have to talk to you and see what skill sets you're coming. That mission is going to be about a little bit about definitely chainsaw cleanup always. We'll be doing some interaction with the community, because there are other people that want to support the various communities, but we don't have the data to say how many people need tarps. So we're going into the community and asking people, checking what is it they specifically need, because we don't want this place to be a dumping ground for everything that people want to dump down on us, right? Because you could be giving something to somebody that they don't need. How many people really need tarps? When I go to the tarp company, the people that want tents and they're doing tents and tarps, they're asking me, how many people, have you done an assessment? So we want to be able to walk the community and say, all right, how many people really need a tent? How many people really need a tarp? So that's the kind of stuff that we'll be doing this coming week. And then, of course, I personally will be at the farmers market with planting material, partnering with Nature Preservation Hope Gardens in terms of creating opportunities for planting out seedlings, so that we will help in the recovery effort. So anybody is in the corporate area, please do come and work with us on that. Even if it's for an hour, you can come and you'll be amazed at the amount of work that you'll be able to do. Then we are also mentioning about our cover crop right now with all these bare soils, but we need some cover crop on there, because that will be fixing nitrogen in the soil. And that workshop is going to be we're online webinar December 18th. It's coming up. I just wanted to let you know that is coming up. And what else do we have? I'm going to ask Roshana to come on, because you have some information about the chat, some things from last week. Can you come on?
Evening, everyone. Nicola, would you mind making me co-host again, please?
Okay, let's see how I can do this. All right. Oh, because you need to do that thing. Okay, I'm trying to do it. One second, Roshana. We have a lot of people on. I'm just trying to figure out how to get to your name. 1 second. That's why they don't really let me do this technical stuff, because them know say I will always have issues. Okay, I'm making you a co-host. There you go. You should be done, Roshana.
All right, thank you. 1 second.
So I think there was a number of people that left things in the chat, and I think Roshana is trying to respond to those requests from last week. But meanwhile, she's doing that, I will just continue to talk about. Are you ready, Roshana? Okay, here we go.
Yes, good evening, everyone. First of all, I just wanted to share some of the flyers for what Colleen and Nicola were just talking about. So here is the flyer for the chainsaw and tree management workshop for tomorrow. And Nicola, I don't know if you want to touch on this flyer a little bit more.
I do actually want to touch on, and I do want to thank, there's a UK group, Elias, yeah, I'm sure I'm not saying her name properly, but she did some work with us earlier this week and got some donations. So I will be sending a picture, a little video around of one of the things that we came down to do is that we just set up a base camp kitchen. So when people come, whether we're making soup for the community or some kind of food for the community, we have the equipment. So she asked, what do you need? And we said, we really want to set up this kitchen because last time we were really outside, under the sun or the rain, trying to, cooking on a tire rim to make the pots of soup, which, we do that in Jamaica anyway, we do it. But because of that, she was able to donate some funds to us that we were able to go and purchase more equipment, a proper pot, utensils, all that stuff. And we set up a kitchen at Mr. Keith Wedderburn's house, additional outdoor little room, but you'll see a video of it and what we did. So we spent a whole morning setting that up, trying to make sure everything is there. So as people are coming down to help with this vicinity and do this work, we'll be able to not only support the volunteers that are coming, but be able to do some soup kitchen, which is one of the things that we want to do. So people can come help us with peel, potato, yam, whatever we have, because again, nutrition is important and not just whatever, the rice and all that stuff that they're actually, some of them are not getting, but if they do get that, the nutrition is going to be very compromised. So we're able to come in and cook some meals. So please know that you could come down for a day, you could come down for a couple of days, you come for the weekend, and let's see what we can do. But the kitchen is there. So we are asking you to share this flyer. Any donations, we're very transparent in what we do. There are other things that needs to happen in terms of the demonstration plots across the island, not just within Bluefields or the one in Westmoreland, but we need to be able to help fund the operations. And it is definitely a collaboration between the JOAM and Source Farm and the research station. And we already thank all the people that would have already put their donations in. We really do thank you for that, because it allows us to be able to get those ingredients so that we'll be able to do the work that we came here to do and make sure that there's food security. So I talk about time, talent, treasure. If you don't have the time, because you also put the treasure in there. If you have the time, come and help us, right? So, and if there's other ways that you would like to volunteer, we have all kind of work to do. So many hands make light work. So that's that flag.
All right. Thank you so much, Nicola. One final thing I have to share is information about our WhatsApp group chat. I have put in some links in the chat to join, but this is also a QR code that you all can scan. And this will take you into a community group where we will give updates each week and where we will also be sending out all of the links and the flyers that we post in the groups during the meeting. We'll resend them out here. So please join if you are interested in staying in touch with this community. All right. Thank you, everyone.
And we also share everything between Source Farm, our Instagram and our, email stuff that we send out, as well as JOAM as well, because it's really a big community of us doing this work. We all wear many hats, and everybody is like, we're just working collaborative together, because that's what time it is. And so if there is something that you have an idea about, or something you'd like to donate, or some other links that you have, please feel free to reach out to one of us. Arunde is a board member. I see Janice has been on and off her internet is somewhat unstable. Colleen is there. Onija is there. We have a pretty dynamic team. And I really just wanted at this point just thank everybody that has been working hard on this. And I can tell you that it's really a volunteer effort because we don't really get paid for this, but we know that it's so important for us at this time for us to really do this collaboration and get this work done. And so we just continue to do this work and all the prayers that people have been sending up for all of us, that we'll be able to navigate this space. And I'm really grateful for that because I know I can feel the prayers, trust me, because things I'm like, how are we going to do this? And then somebody answers the prayers. So we're really grateful. So I'm thanking Colleen. Poor Colleen just gets battered around. She has many hats that she's wearing and have to remember all these different things. I'm really grateful for, just stepping up and taking it on. Roshana, again, thanks to you, Peace Corps volunteers that have been working within the parish and doing this work and just stepping up and doing this work. We're grateful for you. I would like to thank the entire Genesis team, Onija, who most of the people have interacted with at some point with the Genesis project. Onija is our communications person. She was missing there for a while. Well, we were actually on our way to Hanover to go find out what happened to her, but she finally popped up. It was communication issues, but we were able to bring her back on board. The entire JOAM board has been really trying to do so many things, whether physically coming to volunteer or they're organizing things online. Des Marie, Michelle, who's doing all the graphic work always, even though whether she's traveling or not, she's on top of it. Nahala is in part of the production team. Thanks, Nahala, for stepping up and really helping us out. And really for all the volunteers that are here. We had 13 volunteers that are here that helped today, that came from Kingston to come down to help us. We did a caravan coming down and they unloaded things. They are giving out water, giving out medicine, just helping us put it all together. I'm really grateful for everybody. And you too can be, if you're feeling a little disconnected and you want to help, there's a space here that we can actually plug you into to help. And there's other farms as well. So even if you can't come to this particular site, there are all the sites that need help at this point. If you're in Portland, Otilia is there, her site, it needs some help, just having more people, more community. If you're in anywhere you are on the island, there we have a demonstration site, and all of them need help. They need you to come and help put more food in the ground, help you to move things. If we're doing chains, whatever it is, it's important for us to work where you can. But if you need to do this mission, and then also on the international thing, we are also asking for some farmers that are not farming this winter to come and give us a month of work, right? If they're going to vacation and still, we don't want you to come sit on the beach. We want you to come and help us put something in the ground. So if you have friends that are in the UK, Canada, Japan, wherever, and they want to come and actually do work, we don't come with no lazy people. Don't bring no lazy people. You know what I say already. I want you to bring folks that are going to invite people that want to come and actually help, because it's going to, one hand can't clap. It's going to take all of us to lift this up. We have so many people that love Jamaica and have benefited from being on the island. They can all tell stories about something magical that happened to them when they've come to this place, and we want everybody to come back and to give, and not just to come and, to come and actually do real work on the ground as well. And if you can't come, send resources to help the other people that want to come, that are on island trying to do work to keep it going. So again, I just thank you so much for just showing up and just, so many people have called me and just being there. And as we do this work, we're making all the connections that matter. And there's always a connection to the natural world and trying to repair the damage that we've all kind of done while we've been on the planet. So about reconnecting. So thank you again for tuning in. And if anybody, you guys have my number, my connection, and we just on the board, don't have to be me. Everyone is all and just tuning in this week. And we didn't even open up for any questions. Can we do that for a hot second before we go? So if anybody has any questions, Maybe we can take 4 or 5 of them. Put your hand up and let's do it.
There were some questions in the group chat that I can reach out to, or that I can repeat.
Okay, if you want to do them now, let's take a couple quick questions before we leave.
Yes. We have someone asking, what time is the team traveling to St. Elizabeth and back for the one day this week? Which day is there a convoy?
Okay, so for the St. Elizabeth, because obviously it's a far distance, we're going to leave at 6. And we'll be leaving, let's say it's going to be we'll leave from Sovereign. That seems to be a meeting place that people know. So if you're interested, please do reach out to us, and what we've been doing is people are interested. We put you in a group, on a WhatsApp group, and then you get all the information. Right. So, but we really do want to make sure that you're really coming, because we don't want to spend a lot of energy on trying to organize, and you really, things happen, but really think about it, make sure your schedule can do this. And we will make that arrangement. So do reach out to us if you're really planning on doing the one day with us to St. Elizabeth. And then the other one, again, reach out to us about the weekend one, and we will organize it as well. There's limited spaces that we can do. I think we can maybe do up to maybe 12 people. I mean, in terms of indoor kind of camping situation that we've been organizing, there may be a little bit, if you have outdoor tenting that can take rain, there may be a couple other spots that are there. Okay.
Another question about scheduling is, when do you go to Clarendon, and is it North Clarendon?
We've already gone to the demonstration site in Clarendon for this month. I'll be putting out a December schedule, but we've already gone to Clarendon, and it's near Tollgate is our demonstration site with the tenants. So we've already done that one. But we'll share the schedule with everyone in the group. But I think for the next week, I know for sure that we'll be St. Elizabeth and back to Bluefields. And then I'll do the schedule. I haven't done the schedule for December yet.
All right, so soon come. Also, I just wanted to clarify that for the Dart workshop tomorrow, please do not bring your own chainsaw. And for the seed planting workshop at Ujima, that will happen on the 22nd, correct, Nicola?
It will happen on the 22nd. And for the time you need, 9 o'clock, we'll be going from 9 to about 1. And you show up, we will be giving, we'll show you how to do stuff. If you already know, just come and do your 20 bags or whatever you can afford to do. And Miss Mary, we're going to, from Nature Preservation Hope Gardens, we're going to work with that to make sure that there's a specific location that we're going to make sure that they can get watered and all that stuff. So we'll be collaborating on that. But please do show up so we can have some hands. Miss Mary?
No, I said, okay, noted.
Okay, great, thank you.
All right, great. I would just like to end us off with not a question, but a comment. Give me 1 second. From Dr. Lindsay, and he said, congrats to the presentation by Delroy McNish. Delroy was among the founders of JOGA and JOAM. He was manager for an organic farm close to the Paul Bogle High School in the 90s. We are blessed to have him share his vast experience on this podcast. And I think we can all agree and extend one final thank you to Delroy. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Doc. And Delroy, of course, is much love, much love. And if you see Delroy teaching something, please always show up, because he has such wisdom to share, and he's done a lot of different activities around farming. So he knows his stuff. So thank you again so much for always being there and being there for us. Is one person that if somebody have a question and I can't answer it, of course, I just say, call Delroy. So that is always my resource person when I'm stuck on something. So Delroy, I'm not setting you up, I'm just telling you that's the truth of it, right? I think who's going to do our closing thanks for Delroy? Is it Colleen, or is it Janice, or Cecile? Not sure. Colleen, were you going to do it?
Let me do it. First of all, I want to just say thank you all. Your mind and your ears, it's fertile ground for the seed of change and the seed of hope that through this disaster we are planting. And once we have planted the thought, the deed will follow. We have to follow up with the action that supports our desire for change and change for better. And if we all do what we have been sent here to do, what our purpose is, there's no holding us back. We will rebuild, and we will rebuild better because we are working with nature and we are part of nature. Once we recognize and remember that we are part of nature, the planet can't be destroyed. We can't be destroyed. So thank you all for joining, and follow up this podcast with planting. We are going to go and plant the seeds. The seed has been planted in our minds. We're going to be planting the physical seeds. So thank you all, and please enjoy the rest of the day. And for the week ahead, let it be a productive and fruitful week. And thank you. Amen and ashe.
Amen.
Ashe.
Ashe, ashe.
And thank you, Natalie, again for grounding us in. And this might be a regular thing.
I am happy to make it a regular thing.
Voluntold to do something. All right, thank you so much, and thanks, Arunde, and much blessings to everybody.